Everybody.
You want to turn that fan on?
Can you
That's why.
give us
Look
a
at
second?
it.
We want to get started.
Look at this split.
You know we have like there's a big difference in sound. Turn it up. I'll open the window, so don't do that.
What? That doesn't change the fact that it's foggy in here. All right.
Hey fam. Welcome.
You know, I'm pretty excited, right?
Why?
Because when I came home from work today, I told you, like, this is my last year.
This is his
Well, not
last
to be
year
a
in school.
to be able to be a full-time husband and a
Husband and father.
roommate,
Full-time.
all that good stuff. So I'm kind of excited.
But
It's just draining.
you're a good husband and father, even in school.
We'll see.
I wouldn't give you, like, I wouldn't mark you down because of what you're doing.
I mean, it's just been a long time. It's a long journey.
It's been a long journey.
Before we was married,
you've been in
up to this
school
point.
the entire time we've been married.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's been a long, I mean, the entire time.
Two different institutions. So
Hi, James Jacobs.
you know
Everybody come in and say hello so we can say
handle
hi back
business.
at you. I'm looking at two cameras, so if it looks a little weird, that's what's going on. But you're right. You have rather been in school the entire time we've been married.
Yeah, two different institutions, man.
Yeah, it's been two different institutions, but I think that actually also pertains to like what we're talking about tonight, right?
Yeah.
Because do you think is that off? Should we wait for a little while before I go down that street?
No, I was gonna say, do you remember the reason why I went back to school?
No, I don't.
And the reason why I asked that question, because again, it just made me think about. Um,
Can I use one of your books?
Yeah. You go to the back. Yeah, there you go. The reason I went back to school, because at the time I went back to school, I was at a place where I was trying to find myself.
That seems like a repeated theme for you.
What do you mean?
Because the reason you went to school the first time was because
I was
you wanted to be a better father.
right.
And so you were like, the only way you knew to improve yourself was to go to school.
Get educated, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I went to college.
That's what I said.
Seminary, rather.
It seems like a repeated theme.
Yeah, yeah. So when I decided to go back to school, I was just at a place of rebuilding the idea of who I, well, at that time I'll say was, and am at that point. So yeah, I decided to go back to school, and I set out to hit, you know, a scholastic benchmark.
Scholastic.
Yeah. That's why I said it low, because I know he's going to correct
me.
Benchmark. So it's coming to a close, and I'm kind of excited about it, because for the last 8 years I was unable to enjoy sports. Basketball and football, and
that's what you miss.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Do you know how much it's a drag to, when Sunday comes around and football comes on, I only can watch like half of the early game, because I got to get into books and write papers and different things like that. And I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. This is not about you. This is about me. Let me have my moment. And I know, look, it is just the beginning. Like, I still have a long way to go before this school year come to a close. And that's why I mentioned to you yesterday, like, this is going to be a challenging school year, and not just because of the academic pressure, but like last year when the school year came to a close, like, it was a push. I was like, man, it's almost at the end of the school year. I'm tired. I'm ready for this thing to end. And I feel like that now at the beginning. So the way I felt at the end of last school year.
Let me ask you this question. Somebody said to me that it wasn't fair that I keep letting you go back to school.
What do they mean by that?
They were saying that by like agreeing to you going back to school, like it wasn't fair because we had Jacob, and it wasn't fair because like it didn't give me time to pursue some of the things that I wanted to pursue.
Okay.
What do you say to that?
So let me talk to that person. All right. So if you're on the line, see, my education wasn't at the beginning. My education was definitely for me. Like at that time of me making the decision to go back to school, my life was upside down. Like literally, I lost everything.
Right.
Like I'm sleeping on someone's couch. You know what I mean? My identity was wrapped up into my previous life. Everything I was and everything I did was for that life. So when that got all taken away, I'm sitting there like, who am I? You know, what do I like? What I don't like? Who do I want to be? You know, all these questions. So, education was when I became an adult, education became very important to me. So when I did assume or consume some level of education after high school, it was intoxicating, to say the least. But I had to work because I had a kid. Right. You know, I had a kid, so I had to get up there and work. But after, you know, going into the workforce or whatever, I never put school aside. It was something I always wanted to do, but I had to achieve some level of financial stableness, you know, at that particular time. So going back to school wasn't just to consume a lot of information. It was, to be honest with you, it was more of a confidence builder. It was more of a confidence builder for me to be able to rebuild my life in the image that I wanted to be. You know, and obviously not every situation may cause for education for people to have the life that they desire to have. But, you know, before going back to school and all the books that I have read between when I first ended my college career, or seminary rather, in between going back to school, I've read hundreds of books.
Right.
So information became very important to me, very intoxicated, as I said. So at that point, like I said, you know, that was like, man, where do I go? So I went back to school and I made a commitment. Like if anything I start, I'm always going to finish, especially when I write it out and say, at the end of this journey, this is what I want to look like. And I don't care how long it takes.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's just me. That's with anything. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to stick it out until I reach that destination. So when I decided to go back to school, trust me, I went back and forth, you know, how far do I want to just want to get my bachelor's? Like, and just call it quits, because the space I'm in for as work related, that's all I need to get to that ultimate destination. Right. I just need a bachelor's. But at the time, my situation, how I view the opportunity to me, it was just over. Like, because of some of the decisions that I had to make based upon my circumstances, it did not, you know, based upon what it says in the black and white, I would not be able to pursue that higher level of corporate position. I'll just put it like that, or putting it all out there.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just go all the way. I'm gonna go as far as I possibly can, and that was, you know, to some level of doctorate. So with that being said, I just kind of give that person insight. And before we got married, we had this conversation. Like, school was important to me. I wasn't planning on getting married. I didn't necessarily want to get married again.
For those of you who don't know, James and I, this is for both of us, our second marriage. Both of us had pretty
we ain't got to go there. We'll say that for another day.
Difficult transitions
Ed. Okay. Yeah. Say that. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Both of us had pretty difficult transitions
right.
from there to here.
To here, right.
And so when he's talking about that space in town where he lost everything and he was sleeping on somebody's couch, in their basement, mind you, he's talking about the in between,
right.
between his last and his current,
right.
And like not having, like, he outright told me when we were just hanging out with each other, like, I'm staying in school until like I get finished, and B, I'm never getting married. So I don't. You might. This is what he told me out of his mouth. You might as well go ahead and date somebody else, because I'm not marrying anybody else. Because his experience was really difficult, and so I respect that. I understand that. But the cold piece was when I said, "Well, what if you change your mind?" And I'm already remarried. You notice they told me I feel sorry for him. I said, "What you mean you feel sorry for him?" He said, "Because if I change my mind, he don't have a chance." I said, "If I'm already remarried?" He said, "You're getting a divorce." I was like, "Oh, this one, he bold. Go tell me to go on about my business and at the same time tell me that I'm not going nowhere."
I know what y'all thinking. It was very disrespectful, and I agree. But since then, I've read this wonderful book. The name of the book is Your Ego is Your Enemy. So that gave me an awakening. It helped me out a lot. So, that was my position then. And unfortunately, if it was the truth, it'd still be my position today. So.
Y'all hear this, right? Okay.
So let me address what your friend said. So before I address it, you want to repeat it one more time so we can address kind of
someone said to me that it was unfair that I keep letting you go back to school.
Oh, okay. You emphasize letting. Okay. Yeah. So again, let me ask the question again one more time. What does she mean by unfair?
That it did not give me a chance to pursue my interests, and that I had to take up a lot of the slack as it pertains to Jacob because you're in school.
Right. So at the beginning of my school journey, my behavior, one of my behavior traits is perfection.
He is a perfectionist.
So at the beginning of my school journey, we didn't have Jacob, obviously, but I committed myself to my academic consumption, meaning I spent a lot of time reading, a lot of time studying. And one day we had that conversation. He was like, "Bro, like, you be all right. Just take it easy." And I said, I want to get into grad school, so I want to make sure my GPA stay at a certain level.
Right.
So that's why I was so immersed in my school. Like, it was so important to me. But I remember he was like, you said something that your mom told you when it came to math.
Oh, like, just see your way through.
Yeah.
See your way through.
See your way through.
I'm not good at math. Like, you don't want me to have anything to do with your child. But
so anyway, so I had to bring some adjustment to my approach to when it comes to how can I say this? My study habits. I put it like that. And as we our journey in marriage, even before Jacob, I began to implement some things to make sure that we spend time together.
That's true.
We had this conversation, like, typically all of my classes is on one day.
Right.
And so the very next day, the next 3 days, I just need the next 3 days to take care of all my schoolwork, whether it's reading, writing papers, whatever the case may be. And then it leaves Friday, typically Friday, most of the time, Friday, Saturday, a portion of Saturday, Sunday, and a portion of Monday to whatever you want to do, whatever you want to go. And I made sure on Sundays that I did not plan anything. I didn't watch football. I didn't, do anything that I wanted to do. It was like, whatever you want, wherever you want to go. You want to go to your friend's house to eat? Fine. You want to go out to what restaurant? You want to go out of town? What you want to do? Whatever that you want to do, Sundays is your day. You know, obviously we go to church. That's something that we enjoy doing. That's something we enjoy worshiping together. That's something, the church we go to, our pastor is awesome. So we enjoy the word, as well as other preachers that preach there. But at that particular time, our pastor had the pulpit in a headlock,
in a vice grip.
Right. So we didn't have too many people coming to preaching this pulpit. But with that being said, like Sundays was your day. Mondays I would work, but also before we go to bed, I would, we would have small conversations, whatever. When you went to bed, I would do some studying, as well as Saturdays. Like I would, most of the time, all my work would be done before Saturdays. And Friday was just a portion, because before then, this was pre-pandemic. So you would actually be at work. So by the time you came home from work, all of my school work, anything I need to do was done. So Friday evenings was all you. Mainly Saturday, partially Saturday was all you. Sundays was definitely all you, and part of Monday. So I put things in place so she would, or you wouldn't feel neglected because of my determination and like my behavior when it comes to doing stuff. Anybody that knows me know, like, I'm gonna go get it. Like, I'm gonna go get it. So, and now with Jacob, again, I have adjusted how I approach school. So my days is pretty much the same. Take my classes on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is where I try to do my work. So the way I do it now is I get up at 5:00 and get out the house or leave work as early as I can. Typically I try to get at my job at about 7:00. So from 7 to 9 I'm doing schoolwork on those 3 days. And then when I come home, between the time I come home and the time we lay Jacob down, I'm spending all my time with Jacob. I'm playing with him, running around with him, making sure he has time with me. And then when he goes to bed, or while LaTonya's putting him down, I go into my schoolwork. I do my reading, write my papers, or at least write an outline or something like that. I do all of that stuff. And then by that time is about 9:30, 10:00. Then I'm shutting it down. We sit up, talk for a little bit, lay down, go to sleep, or whatever the case may be.
Or whatever the case may be.
Whatever the case may be. And then Fridays, typically I try to take off. And again, I get up early, do my work, spend time with you guys. Same thing with Saturday. So, I mean, I had to make some adjustments, and, sometimes my work do run into other days, but, I try to be very proactive and very stringent in my behavior in making time for you guys. So
you are. You are.
So and it is hard, but I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't mind if you correct me in front of people. It's okay. But when it runs,
Jacobs called us nasty married people. I'm sorry.
Albeit it's not defiled.
Hi.
Whatever we do, hey, look,
it's our business.
I'm just saying.
Listen.
Anywho, I digress. But sometimes if it does run over into some of those days, I kind of let you know, like, hey, I need a couple of hours, but for the most part, that's kind of like my work schedule. So, so when it comes to you pursuing other things, I fully support you.
You do.
There's times where I'll be like, hey, you ain't done nothing in a while. I think you need to, and what can I do to help?
Yeah.
And, there's 24 hours in a day. I don't mind, as we say, burning that midnight oil for the sake of you or Jacob, which I have, and I don't have no problem doing it. So I do understand. But, at this point, as my education journey come to a close, at the beginning, it's very much about me. It was very much about me. In the middle, I realized, acquiring, achieving this level of education, what it says to our kids, right? And in the midst of me pursuing my education, in this higher level education, or whatever, I began to mentor a lot of people in fellowship with a mentor group. And I realized that, my education, it wasn't just for me, right? And then as again, as we continue to move in different spaces, I realize, like it or not, in certain spaces, having a high level education does open up doors.
That's right.
Because people may meet you on paper before they meet you in person. And some people won't meet you in person unless there is a level of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't necessarily want to use education again, but consumption of a high level of information, right? So,
it's another way of saying education,
right? So as looking at that journey, the purpose changed as I continue to move forward, and again, as I'm coming to a close, it really, and this is something I said to you a while ago. It really made me go back and reflect on a lot of who I am as a person. And this kind of leads into our conversation about connections, right? I realized that, and this ain't come from none of my classes. This is just me just beginning to kind of look back. And I don't want to do it so early, but I am. I told you, I'm just at this place where I'm just like, bro, I'm done. When it comes to connections, I'm not like the best person when it comes to keeping connections. Like, I'm not good at that.
Okay.
So and I realize I'm not good at that. Partially, actually, I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to go too deep in it. But I realize that is not one of my strong suits. Even though I purposely attempt to try to stay connected, it's just okay. It's just one of my challenges.
We'll go down that.
Okay, all right.
Okay. But before we go down that road, let me ask you this question: You were connected to someone else before, like that's how we started this conversation. Right. Again, for those of you who are just coming on, James and I were both previously married. And in the transition from there to here was an interesting one. So my question to you is, do you think you would have been able to pursue your education in that connection?
I don't know, because at that particular time, I had what I needed to where I was trying to go. I didn't need any more education. It was something that once I achieved that particular goal, I was going to go back and get a higher level education, because it was such a burden on me for how I wanted to be seen by my kids.
Were you able? Know what I'm saying? Were you going to? I can't take James Jacobs. So those of you who don't know who James Jacobs is James Moore's godbrother. And so James Jacobs he knows us a little bit more than most people do. And so he's on here, for those of you who can't see on Instagram, going, no, you wouldn't have been able to do it. No. So, but to that, let me ask you this question. I know the answer to it.
Okay.
All right. Would you have been able to achieve the goal you were reaching for in that connection?
I mean, obviously not.
I already know that. I said I already know that.
Obviously not. But at that particular time, I mean, obviously I didn't achieve that goal, but that connection, unbeknownst to me, I didn't realize the importance of having the proper connection, right? So, I'll just say the proper connection to wherever you're trying to go, like being connected, being in the right circle, fellowshipping with the right people is such a huge importance to self-protection, self-help, self-wealth, who you are as an individual, where you're trying to go. I mean, having the proper connection or the right connections is so important. So in that my previous situation, I didn't think that connection didn't have any influence on where I was trying to go. It was just part of the reason of where I was trying to go.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
But for clarity's sake, and
I'm talking too much in riddles.
You're talking in riddles, but it's okay.
Well, you know me, like I don't like talking, speaking
negatively,
right?
But I'm talking about. This is what I'm gonna say, and what I'm saying is about you.
Right.
From what you told me, you got married the first time to check a box.
Yes.
Okay. Right. That's what you did that. I'm not talking about the other person.
Okay. Yeah. So
that's
part of it. Yeah.
That's part of it. Yeah. Right. You got married the first time.
Right. Well, you have to remember, in my situation, when I first got my first marriage, I was in seminary, in church, licensed minister. Right.
You were shacking up, James.
Yes. So my pastor at that time was like, bruh, like you are in seminary, you know, I licensed you as a minister. Now I'm not ordained at this time. I'm licensed as a minister. You know, God called you, da 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 da. Like you need to fix this. You need to do this. Da 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 da. You know, at that time it just seemed like the right thing to do.
Right.
You know, and you know, outside of that, you know, where I had begun to set my eyes on as far as a career, you know, I mean, on paper it just look right. I'm just being honest with you. Right. On paper it just look right. You know what I mean? It's not to say that, you know, my ex is a bad person or whatever the case may be. I'm just like at that particular time what I was thinking. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
and I was just at the same place. Like I was 25 and everyone around me was getting married. And you know, I met this young man and I was like, okay. I'm gonna get married. Checks the boxes.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that sometimes we get connected to people purely because it checks the boxes or it gets us out of difficult or uncomfortable situations.
Right. Okay.
Right. Okay. Because like my uncomfortable situation was being single.
Right.
It was difficult for me and I was uncomfortable.
Right.
And so it checked the box.
Right.
And so I think we have to, instead of checking boxes, have to check connections. Like it goes beyond just scratching an itch, taking care of our now, or, you know.
I mean, I think some of that is easier said than done because at that particular time, you're not clearly thinking.
Yeah.
You're more consumed with fixing or resolving, you know, where you at rather than looking at where you're going, right? And really, when I say look at where you're going, like how will this person continue to evolve as I evolved, or is this person fits my season where I'm at right there?
Yeah,
you know, and I think, you know, one of the things I begin to tell a lot of, you know, 21 to probably 28-year-old people right now, like give yourself some grace. You know, and I think part of it is your upbringing too. Like that plays a part into how you view life and how you view connections too, right? And as you get older and more mature and take on more information and have more experiences, you begin to see like some of these connections are not healthy. But also the challenge is some of these connections have been what we would say lifetime connections.
Yeah.
And how do we disconnect, or do we disconnect, or do we subtle connect, or, you know, what do that connection look like? Right. You know, I read a quote in many books and said in various different ways. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future. You show me your circle, I'll show you your future.
Part.
You show me who you walk with, I'll show you your future.
That part.
You show me who you drink with, and I don't mean like getting drunk, but just, you know, casually having drinks or whatever the case may be. You show me who you break bread with, I'll show you your future. So, you know, that, you know, one of my mentors said that to me, you know, James, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So when we talk about connections, you know, look at what you're surrounded or who you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
What are the conversations that you're having? You know, if we're talking about people, or we, you know, gossiping, or we just talking about the way it used to be,
right.
or we just, you know, dogmatic about the way things are and unwilling to change, then, I mean.
Right. let's see. Troy said, yeah, agree with the person to take you to where you're going. If it's not a challenge, your growth will stagnate. And I think that that's a big thing, right? Like, I think that sometimes we're so short focused that we're not thinking about where we're going. And so now we're not being intentional about linking to people who are going to help us get to that place, who are going to challenge us, like Troy said.
People don't. But one of the things is that I've discovered, right? Closed-minded people don't like to be challenged. I've discovered that, like, closed-minded people, and you'll know that they're closed-minded not by what they say, by what they do, right? Because we are really good at saying, "Oh, yeah, I agree, yeah, I like that," but no change behavior.
Wow.
There's no change behavior. There is, the conversation never changes.
Wow.
It kind of reverts back to this, that, or one of the statements that I broke myself out of the habit of saying and thinking, and one of the things that I coach people not to say, this is the way I am.
This is the way I am.
Right? Yeah. I broke myself out of that habit, and I coach people not to speak like that. And there's a multitude of reasons why, but let me just give you the one reason why. It's because when you tell someone this is who you are, you're giving them permission to treat you
like this,
like that, forever.
That's right.
So when you grow, you're telling them they should be blinded to your growth and still treat you the same way. And then you get upset and get frustrated and aggravated by the way they treat you. But this is what you told them. This is who I am. Yeah. This me.
This is me.
Try not to say that. Yeah. This is just where I'm at right now.
Right.
And this is why I say give yourself some grace.
That's very valid. James Jacobs says, can they handle your future, not just your now? And I think that that's the question to ask. But that means you have had to have done some.
Oh, y'all go. Man, he gaslighting me. He get me fired up. Go
That's
ahead.
Not what that means, babe.
Gaslighting means putting fire on something to make it explosive, to make it bigger, or to bring gaslighting. I know
gaslighting means to trick you into believing something is one way when it's another way.
That's one version of it, but there's another version. But anyway, you just get me hyped. Because this is what I've discovered. I don't really care if you can't handle my future. That's not my problem. That's your problem. And see, and if this is the thing, James, and I like that you brought that up, because if you have to question that lets you know that they ain't the right person.
If you have to question what?
If you have to question whether they can handle your future and not your now, they're not the right person to be with.
So here's the thing, though. I think that's on you. You have to be introspective enough to know something about your future. And I think that that's not necessarily a easy thing, right? Because everyone isn't looking toward.
What was the question? I'm sorry. What question was, can they handle your future?
Not just your now.
Not just your now.
Right.
Right. So this is making a suggestion as if you know where you're going. Right? No? I'm just reading
assumption. Right. No. I get what you're saying, but what I'm challenging is that you have to, in order for that to happen, you have to be introspective enough to know where you're going.
Right.
You've had to have sat with that for a little while to say, I know for sure this is my aim and my goal. So for example, I was telling you about a friend of mine I was talking to today. I don't know that he knew at the moment of connection where he was going. And so he made a connection that wasn't sustainable in his future. He got to his future and looked and was like, oh, you're not going to work here. This is going to cause me more problems than success.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not going to benefit me here. It ended up having to make a really hard decision to disrupt that connection. So I don't know that it's always looking at that person. I think that's on you. Like, do you know where you're going? And are you able to say, you can't roll with me.
But even in that case, your friend, he may knew what a destination, where the destination was, but he may not knew what all came with being at that destination either. Like, for instance, I'm coming to close on my academic full-time career. At the end, I don't know what else is going to come with that. I don't know what opportunities may come with that, or different challenges may come with just having that name change. Mm-hmm. I don't know. So that means that I may have to look around for the mentors that I have and say, do I need to add more mentors to my circle to continue my journey? Because I don't know. So even like in case of your friend, like, he may make that connection, but when he got there, he realized that, this connection is a little, it may not work out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he may not, he even getting to that place, he may have been unaware that it wasn't like this person didn't fit either. So beforehand, it's difficult to say as well.
That's what I'm
right?
What I'm saying.
I know. I just want to make sure I'm hearing what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You went on before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
Before we got married, mm-hmm. You went on this date that you mm-hmm. talk about sometimes. Mm-hmm. And you said you went on this date, you sat down, something happened on mm-hmm. this date that you were like, oh no, mm-hmm. You can't go with me where mm-hmm. I'm going. Mm-hmm. What was it that about at that moment mm-hmm. that made you go, this ain't it?
Well, I wanted
as
peace,
it pertains to your future.
I don't know. I wasn't thinking about my future. I was just thinking about, I guess that's not true. I wanted peace. Like, I'm not big into argument. I don't have no, I don't mind debating, but I ain't for no argument. I'm arguing, I ain't for, trying to find something to fuss about or go back and forth. And there's just certain behaviors that I just wasn't tolerating, and it would disrupt my peace. I'm like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Like, I think we can't have no future with acting like that. One of the things that, when we talk about connections, I think is important that you pay attention to the people that you're connected with and how they treat other people. That's for me.
I think that's valuable.
For me, because that's gonna that will let me know how they possibly could treat me if something comes awry, or if they get too comfortable with our connection, or what the case may be. And I'm not just talking about boyfriend or girlfriend or date. I'm just talking about just in general, period. And how she conducted ourselves to that waitress at that time. I was like, oh no, absolutely not. And then something else happened at the same time on this date. I was like, oh no, nah, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work for me. Check, please.
But here's the other thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you work in a public service mm-hmm. environment, right? Mm-hmm. You're called into ministry. Mm-hmm. I think you have, like, those things you have to take into consideration. Mm-hmm. If she would treat that waitress that way, like, how would she treat the people that you were called to minister mm-hmm. to, mm-hmm. or that you work with,
right?
Because, who's going to avoid Chick-fil-A when you're married to somebody that works at Chick-fil-A? Nobody's going to avoid
my business.
I ain't mean to say it that way. Okay,
so my business?
I'm sorry, my bad. Who's going to avoid your place of work if they're married to you? I'm just saying.
Just put my business
I ain't mean
out
to say
there,
that.
Bro.
It came out before I could stop it. But to my point though.
I gotta turn my head around.
What's wrong with your head?
Because I'm gonna have to get a little grungy with you. You just put my business out there. Anyway, go ahead.
You wanna get grungy with me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Got out of that one. All right. So Troy said, I heard someone describe a helpmeet as a complementary adversary.
Ooh.
Right?
In context, that sounds really, really healthy.
In context, it sounds healthy.
Yeah.
Out of context, it would be
yeah.
You can keep
within
that.
context. Right.
Says your spouse is made to check you and up your game. Am I taking it as a good soldier or as a beleaguered victim?
I mean, I can agree with that partially.
Partially?
Yes.
Why partially?
Again, I'm reading probably into more than I probably need to. I I think when it comes to connections, right, we should understand what role and how that connection profits you in your present and possibly in your future as well. But who wants a connection that's always combative, right? And like I said, I'm probably looking too deep into this more than what he said. That's why I say I agree with what he's saying.
He said a complimentary adversary.
Right. And what else did he say?
They up your game.
What else did he say? What else? Was it something else? It was something in there that kind of...
They up your game.
Excuse me.
They check you.
Right.
And up. That's the part you...
That's the part right there.
Yeah.
Like, that whole checking thing. And I don't know, maybe it's a man thing or just who I am.
Right.
Like, nah, I don't need you to check me, but I may need you to, like pull me to the side and like talk to me. But you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm just thinking about who I'm married to.
What you mean?
What I mean by that, like, everyone knows that you're a very intelligent woman. You're gifted intellectually. But it kind of goes back to when we first was married, when we had conversation, right? The whole finger thing, and you talk to me like I'm a child or I'm a student. I have to tell you, I don't need another mother. I don't need another mother. I'm not your students. But
a couple of things.
The part of that's right. That's part of who you are. You know, you're an educator. You're a teacher. You know, you're a role model. You're you are a life coach. You know what I mean? So a lot of that is part of who you are. So I had to, as Troy said, I had to check her real quick, bruh, and let her know, like, hold up. And I had to look down, obviously, and let her know, like, bruh, don't talk to me like that. Don't point your finger at me when you're talking to me. Like,
really?
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, sorry. Hey, look, we got something. I'm just saying. The juice has already been loose.
Hey.
I'm just saying. But you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I agree with that statement. I can't. I was trying to push back, but I push back on
I think there's value in that, in seeing here's the caveat, right? And I think that this becomes really important pre-marriage, right? Like, you can't push somebody if you're not going anywhere,
right?
And I think that's the part, right? You have to be sure that who you're connected with, and this is married or not married, who you're connected to, that they're going somewhere, that they have a mind to work, that they want to get in, the trenches and be about something too. Because if not, then they're going to look at you like, why are you doing so much? You're doing too much. Why you got to do all of this? Why does it have to be like, you know what I mean? Why can't you just, remember we were talking the other day, why can't you just settle? Why can't you just accept things as they are?
Right.
I would be highly disappointed. I would be so disappointed, especially, from my previous experience. If you were like, I'm just okay with status quo.
Nah, bro.
I wouldn't be okay with that. Like, that would be really disappointing to me. And I think that that's the key when it comes to connecting with people. They can't help you get somewhere if they're not willing to get in there with you. I started to say if they haven't been there themselves, but that's not necessarily true.
Right.
someone who hasn't been there can help you get to the next place, but they got to be willing to put in some work. You know what I mean? To support you along the way, to have your back a little bit. And I just think we don't weigh that enough.
I think every connection should be driven by purpose. I just agree. I believe that because purpose will help you bring balance. Purpose will remind you that whoever is challenging you on your perspectives or your thoughts, there's no ill will. They're not trying to get anything out of you or from you, should I say, but they're trying to help you get to purpose because they understand in some kind of way you achieving your purpose will help them achieve their purpose. If it's just by inspiration, like every mentor that I have, they have something that I wanted or want. So a lot of their practice of mentoring me is not necessarily by a whole lot of conversations, but it's by actions. It's just by action. So I don't really need to have a lot of conversations with them. I just need to know the formula to get what they have. And then if it becomes challenging, I can say, hey, I'm trying to get this, da 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 da. What's the best route, da 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 da. And then, Bishop is a mentor of mine. It's like he may not know it, but he is. And I don't need to have a whole lot of conversations. Just his behavior mentors me. I should conduct myself when it comes to treating people that I know and don't know. Being a giving person, being an honest person, and how I treat you. You know what I mean? It's a plethora of things that he does that he mentors me through just by me observing.
So I'm going to ask everyone, how do you weigh your connections? Like, how do you decide this is a good connection, this is going to work, this is going to take me further, this is a connection that I want? How do you weigh your connections? Because right now, like, I'm looking at some connections that I'm like, I didn't realize had so much value. Like, I connected with them like on a really, 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 really surface level. And then discovered like, oh, like there's spiritual benefit here. And not only is there spiritual benefit here, and I'm just talking about friends, right? Like, not only is there spiritual benefit here, but there's professional benefit here. You know what I mean? So I'm weighing some of these connections and going, I didn't realize that there was so much value here. Thankfully, right? Because there's some other connections I'm weighing and going.
This season is up. So how do you, we obviously asked that one question, but also how do you end connections, or do you end connections?
So that's a good question too. So how do you weigh connections, and do you outright end connections? Like, y'all talk to us a little bit tonight. We're not gonna be going much longer, but talk to us a little bit. How do you weigh your connections, and do you end connections? What do you think? Do you end connections? What do you think?
Do I end connection? I think it depends on if there's some abuse happening. You may want to end the connection for your health reasons, but I'm challenged with ending connections, right? Because when you look back on connections and it goes back to purpose, there may have been a bigger purpose in connecting with that person outside of what you thought the connection was about. So in the connection could also interrupt God's will within that connection as well. So I don't know. Like I said, for me, like, I've realized that that is one of my weak areas, is staying connected to people. Like, I'm not really strong in securing relationships. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going nowhere, but like
which I'm surprised to hear you say, because
I'm not a pick up the phone kind of call you regularly. You know, like I'm not that person. Like a lot of times when I call people is because in prayer, when thought, when meditation, they have been on my heart, right? Yeah. But also it's I don't know. I have tried. Trust me, I have tried, but it's just I'm just not good at it, and I don't know. Well, thinking about it, I have some legitimate reasons why I believe I'm not good at it, but I don't know if that's absolute the truth either. That's something I would have to kind of really dig into and really unpack. But I know, like, I'm just not good at it. I'm not good at it. And I don't know, maybe because I'm just not a huge conversationalist. I don't know. But I try though. I do try. I do, but I'm just not good at it. I'm just not good at it because there's so many people like I enjoy conversing with, being around. It's just I don't know. Maybe just maybe I have to accept the fact that I'm just like really busy. But are you ever too busy to check in? Like I call people, like you know, like I said, when people God put someone on, hey man, I don't want nothing. God just put me on my heart. I was praying for you. I just want to make sure you're good. And 99.9 most of the time when I do that, it's like, yeah, bruh, you know, I'm so glad you called. I was thinking about you, or you know, I'm going through this. What you think? Da 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 da. So I mean, but I try though. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
So y'all talk to us. We're asking, how do you weigh your connections, and do you end connections? Is there ever a time when you should end a connection? And we were talking earlier about this, and I think that the time when you end, and I guess I shouldn't say end. I think put boundaries around, right?
I think any relationship any and every relationship should have boundaries.
Yeah, in my opinion. I think the time when you start looking at how this connection is affecting your health and well-being, right? Your peace of mind. And if it's snatching away your peace of mind, your health, your well-being, then you need to start putting boundaries around, because the people can be abusive.
Let me ask you this question.
I'm listening.
If you married, should you have boundaries?
You don't have to have boundaries if you married to the right person.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you are married, unfortunately,
I disagree, but
let me say it this way. Oh Lord, have mercy.
I don't think it's healthy that if you're married, that your spouse is super comfortable in a relationship. And I don't mean that you have to cause friction or anything like that. I just believe that
it's ridiculous.
And I'm not saying you have to do things to keep your spouse on their toes, anything like that. I think healthy boundaries are necessary in any relationship, even if you marry. Like, you can't just go in my bank account and take my money. Like, because no, that's a boundary. You disagree? That's not a boundary.
You can't just
come and tickle my feet. Like, no, bro, don't touch my feet. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
Right? No? Let's just say what it is. Right?
All you men out there, if you agree with me.
No, because you can't just
if you disagree with me, tell me. Like, if they agree or disagree, tell me.
Well, I mean,
I just need to know.
It's the same thing, though. I guess what I'm saying is you can't just go in my bank account, my personal one, and I can't just go in your personal one. But we have reasons for that.
So that I'm not talking about reasons. I'm just talking about boundaries. Period.
I understand what you're saying.
Right.
But I don't believe that would be the case
if
we hadn't experienced what we both experienced.
Okay. Do you think married couples should have boundaries? That's the question. Or if you, well, obviously,
James Jacobs talking about,
obviously,
hey man, don't touch my money. What?
well, he done had some people take advantage of him too,
Oh,
so
I'm
he
sorry.
know, but he good.
On that note, I agree. Kenny, explain on what note you agree.
You don't think married couples should have boundaries?
I don't know what boundary I have with you outside of my little teeny tiny checking account. So we have four checking accounts.
Mm-hmm.
We have a joint one. He has his own personal one. I have my own personal one. And then I think you have, and then he does.
I have accounts that she don't know.
And then I was about to say he don't think I know about them. I know they there.
You know they there.
I know.
I told you just don't know how much it is.
I just don't know how much it's there. I know that. And
but when you ask me, I do tell you.
You do tell me.
And the reason being, husband, take notes if you don't. Your wife is always going to want something, right? And you don't want to always have to dip into the money that for the house to get it. So you always want to prepare, to be able to, love on your wife in a material way sometimes. So whenever my wife says she wants something, I'd be like, okay, where is that? Let's go. So, a lot of times, like, I don't spend a whole lot of money on myself, on my family, or whatever the case may be. I make sure, like, if she wants something.
The boundary account.
The boundary account. Look, I'm going to change the name on that account, but that's what I'm going to name it. So that's the other accounts. One of them is for business, is to, make sure when the opportunity position in a position to walk into that season. And the other one is, to make sure, like, if you want something, I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. What you want? What? I got you.
I know, and you like the floss with that account.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
He likes the floss with that.
It's yours. I take it like, just pick what you want. What you want, girl? What? You want another one? Go and get you one. I don't know which one I want. Get both of them, girl. Get both of them.
He likes the floss with that.
Get both of them. I be kind of like, what size shoe you wearing this week? I got you. Don't worry.
And I don't mind.
I got you.
I don't mind at all. But I'm laughing at Rodeo. It's the boundary account. Kenny said my wife likes to tickle me all the time. And I'm like, nah.
It's a boundary. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily have to be anything drastic. But I'm saying I think every relationship should have boundaries. I just what I like I said, I don't know if it's a man thing or not. But ladies, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong. Because y'all nosy.
Sister Shirley said I have access to all accounts and the holder of all cards.
Mm-hmm.
I spend what I want.
Amen.
My girl said I spend what I want.
Amen. Hallelujah.
And that works for y'all.
Yeah.
Right? I like being.
And LaTanya, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted.
What?
You buy what you want.
I sure do.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just letting you know.
Make phone calls. I want this. Do you think you would like to? I can't with James Jacobs. I need my shoes. Jesus paid it all. Don't forget about the brother account.
Right.
No. That day.
That's funny.
That
That's
season
funny.
has
That's
passed.
funny.
Thank you so much for how you loved James.
Yeah, that's my man. He saved my life.
That high school.
That wasn't the first time I was homeless.
and cared for him, but
that's my guy.
But
that family is my family.
But that season is over.
That's my guy, man.
There is no longer a such thing as a brother account.
It ain't too many things I wouldn't do for that man.
Yeah. But again, no, Sister Shirley says she has access to all accounts. And, and again, I think that works for you all. And
but you know what's in the accounts, and you know the purpose of them too.
I know the purpose of all the accounts.
It's not hitting accounts. I don't have no hitting account yet, but it's now that you said it. But maybe I need to,
James Jacobs said, "Don't make me call you."
So we talking about connections, right? So we talking about why I proposed the question. Should married couples have boundaries? Now, obviously, if you're dating someone, there are
clear boundaries,
maybe unspoken boundaries, but there are boundaries.
I think those boundaries need to be spoken.
Okay. What about friendships? Do you think friendships should have boundaries?
Yes, without question.
Okay.
Without question or hesitation, without pause. And I think sometimes, like even recently, I thought about a young lady that I deem a friend, but I'm clearly not her friend.
Right.
Like I am her friend, rather. I'm clearly her friend, but she's clearly not mine. And I thought about it recently.
So boundaries sometimes can be protect you, not necessarily
protect you,
not protecting you, not protecting them, but to protect you.
Protect you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like I am clearly aware of the dynamics of that relationship. Like
I remember having a conversation with you
I would move, mountains for her, but I am clear that she would not do that for me. And okay. But as I started thinking about that, then I started also having that conversation with myself about, okay, you got
to put some boundaries up to protect your emotions.
It's time to insulate some things because at this point, it's always me reaching. Right. It's always me saying, I got you. Right. At this point, this season, I got you, but it's not going to be what it was. Okay. I don't think if you call someone a friend that you ever sort of let them fall. But I do think there's a point where you don't let them get destroyed in their fall.
Right.
That's a better way. You don't let them break into pieces in their fall. But
some falls, it's unavoidable because you may be that friend and tell them like you shouldn't do that multiple times and they still do it. So you like, I just got to let you, I got to put boundaries around me because I kind of like we was just talking about right before we came on about the abuser or something like
There was a question on Instagram that was like, do you stay friends with someone who remains with an abuser?
Right.
And I think that you do. You let them know that you're always there for them, but you need to put some boundaries up because it starts working on your brain. Right. Sister Tanya told me to know my worth. Says
I know her worth, even if she don't know her worth. I put a ring on it.
A very nice one. I don't have it on.
I'm just saying. But I know her worth. Trust me. Don't think your boy sitting over here.
Don't.
What?
Not you. Oh. She's talking about my friend.
Oh, your friend. Oh, okay. All right.
Not you, baby.
Oh, all right. I gotta protect myself. I get a little sensitive. It's sensitive about my girl.
Sister Tanya was like, "Oh,
I get sensitive about my girl."
No, I'm talking about her friend. Where I said
sensitive.
I am clearly her friend, but she's not necessarily mine. Yeah. And like I go the extra mile for her, but I know that she would not reciprocate that, and that's what she's talking about. Know your worth. I don't know, like Tanya. I hear what you're saying. I don't know if it's a question of. I don't know if it's a question of my worth. I think it's more of a question of the way I love.
But I think that plays into it too, because even if you don't necessarily know your worth, but you know the worth of your love or the worth of your dedication to individuals. I'm back home. I don't want no smoke. But I think what she said, I think that statement is very, very real and very important, because no matter how you frame that connection, there's some worth to it, because anything that you give time has some worth to it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So even if it's a question about how you love, it's still your love is worth something. Mm-hmm. Only you can really put a price on your love, not the other person. Well, that's not true. I'll say it like this. How they respond to your love lets you know the degree of how much they value your love.
Value it, yeah.
So they do put a price on it. But
absolutely. Yeah.
Today's prices is not yesterday's prices.
She said that's draining a one-side friendship.
Yes,
it is, and that's why I'm at that place now where I'm just like, okay, I understand, I get it, and it's you don't have to keep telling me,
right?
Like I 100% get it, and
I'm not mad at you because it maybe sometimes it's just people personality. Like I have said repeatedly, like I've discovered that is a place of struggle for me. Yeah, is keeping connections, and it's not that I don't love and respect and appreciate the people that surround me, I just don't know. I don't want to say I don't know how to, because that's not true. And I don't want to seem like the people that I fellowship with and connect with, I don't care, because I do. It's just I don't know how to practice it, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I'm at a place where I need to work on that. As I said earlier, that's something I need to work on. I need to dig deep into why that is and where it stems from, and really unpack that, so it can be a healthy part of my experience. Because a couple of years ago, I read about people that have friends typically live longer. I ain't gonna get all in the minutia of that, but that's what it says. Like, people, and it really just talking about enjoying life, like giving life purpose.
But see,
right?
I think the people who pour back into you, like, you don't have a problem staying connected to them. But so for example,
I know what it is. Go ahead.
What? Well, wait a minute before.
It's so deep, because like I'm getting revelation over revelation over revelation. It's like the Holy Spirit's just showing me, like, as I'm like sitting here thinking, he's just showing me, like, this is why, this is why, this is why, this is why. I'm kind of getting a little overwhelmed right now.
You need to sit with it for a little while.
Yeah, I'm getting a little overwhelmed.
You need to write it down.
No.
I think you should.
No, I'm good. Go ahead.
No, I'm serious.
No, I know you are. I'm good. It's just when you made that statement, man, it's just like, whew, my God.
You really should write it down.
Okay, go ahead.
It's here. No, I'm gonna laugh at Rodell though, because he said I keep a cut card in my hands at all times. In my hand, not in my pocket. Like, he ready to cut people off, like, one instant, boom, you cut. Why, Rodell? Why are you so ready to cut people off, Rodell? I'm gonna push you on that. Why you keep one in your hand at all times? Tanya says, "Sis, you have a beautiful heart. You must protect it."
I agree.
Thank you, sis. I love you. I love Sister Tanya. And I'm endeavoring to do so. I'm learning how.
Yeah, you are. I had to help you out, but you got it. I did, bro. When we first got married, look, you know what I had to do.
Yeah.
Whoa, who you talking to?
You shut some people down real fast.
No, you ain't. Don't run up on her, man. I'm telling you, she right though. She's right, man.
I wasn't ready. Somebody, I don't know who it was that said something out the way to me.
Somebody was talking about you when we first got married, and they didn't know we was married, and I had to pull him up quick. Whoa, bruh. What, bruh? That's my wife you talking about. Now we can handle it two different ways. I'm telling you, I wasn't in the sanctuary. I was in the hallway, in the doorway, and I was like, "Whoa, bruh." I'm telling you, man. Anybody know me? You know what's up. So, I had to let them know. Like, bro, like,
those of you who don't know, like, we got married in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
So some people didn't know.
They didn't know.
They didn't know we were married. And so, yeah, he started running his mouth to what he thought was somebody that knew me. They found out, no, that's her husband. But that's another point, though. People didn't. So much of my character was shaped by what I was going through at home that people really didn't like. I mean, really did not like me because of that connection.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. I firmly agree with that, because
like, people,
I had to do some work before we got married to make sure that I am who I am, and don't judge me by your previous selection.
Your previous selection.
Look, it is what it is.
Your previous selection.
Hey, man, look.
Yeah, no, someone actually came up to me, like, what was it, about a month ago? 2 months? No, it was a little longer than that.
Yeah, way longer than that.
Maybe a year ago.
No, it couldn't have been a year ago. It was in the pandemic. It was like maybe almost 3 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. Remember, it was in the pandemic for like almost 2 years. and church was closed for a year.
That part.
I'm just saying.
That's accurate.
We just started going back to church.
That's very
so
accurate.
Legitimately about 2 years.
About 2
so it's
years
probably
ago.
about 3 years now.
Yeah, probably about 3 years ago. And was like, yeah, I didn't like you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what you mean? What you mean? They were like, you were mean. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize how that connection was affecting me in other areas of my life. And again, this just back to the original point, that's we have got to be mindful of those connections and why we make them and whether or not they have their ability to sustain us to and through our next.
And also, I think just what you just said, I think it's important that who you're connected to stabilize your character too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they bring value to your character. They are willing to defend who you are as an individual, and their behavior is in line with who you are. Right? They don't necessarily have to verbalize that they are in line with who you are, or verbalize that, who you are is true, but their behavior, mm-hmm. like, oh, I see why they connected, mm-hmm. right? Birds of a feather flock together. You know what I mean? You show me your circle, I'll show you your future. You know what I mean? So when we look at connections, I say connections should be purpose driven. Whatever that purpose may be. It could be just brotherhood. Like one of the brothers at the church, like me and his birthday is on the same day. So it really kind of that's what connected us, right? And then we have some things that we have in common, but that, because our birthday is on the same day, that's our connection. Like he reaches out to, matter of fact, he reached out to me the other day. Hey bro, just checking on you, see how you doing. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm not good at that. And I don't know why. Like,
well, you do know why. The Lord was revealing.
right. I guess I can't say that anymore.
That's why I told you to write it down.
But that's not something I just randomly do. Most of the time I'm led, from prayer or meditation. Or I see something that reminds me of that person. Let me just text that person. But he does it regularly. Like every 3 weeks, he texts me like, bruh, what's going on? Or he don't even say, bruh, just checking on you. That's it. Yeah. And every time I respond to him, I say, man, like, you don't understand how much that means to me, because believe it or not, I don't, and there's no shame on anyone that's my friend or anything, but I don't have a lot of people that does that does check on me. Like I have people that do text me, like, you know what I mean, that say, hey, we haven't spoken in a while, this, that, and the other. So I'm always grateful. And I again, I get it, because for various reasons, but it is what it is. But he's just one person, one of the people, should I say, rather, that just texts me out of the blue, bro, just checking on you. That's it. Nothing more. Not, hey, can you do this? Hey, not even I'm thinking on you. It's just like, bro, just checking in. Just checking on you. So I'm always grateful.
Well, fam. Yeah.
Connections.
Our baby has been asleep for 2 hours. That means it's an hour past my bedtime. And my eyes are getting heavy. So that being said, I got to go. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Do us a favor. Please like and share. If you can, if you don't mind, going on YouTube, especially our friends who are watching us via Facebook and Instagram. If you could go on YouTube and just follow us or subscribe, same thing, Grace Ministries EX on there as well. Hopefully we'll be updating that soon, but
you know why I'm laughing?
Why?
Because before we got on here, matter of fact, right before we prayed, I thought about when we first started recording.
Yeah.
We wasn't married. We just started. As a matter of fact, I don't even think we started Grace Ministry yet. I think we was talking about ministry, and we was like, what do we do? And we was having all these deep conversations, and we like, man, someone could possibly be help from these conversations. And I think the very first video we posted was at 2000.
Don't stop. Don't ask me. I
don't
don't know.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say.
You know, I don't know.
It
couldn't have been.
But I think it wasn't.
Baby.
That's why I said it had to be what?
We got married in 2016.
16. So maybe it was 2014.
That might be
maybe 13. And I think we was talking about divorce. I think that was the very first. I think
probably.
Yeah,
that's what we both were.
Yeah, you really was. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you. It was just something I just thought I mentioned. Like, you know, we've been at it for a while, sis.
Yeah, we have.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
I love you.
I love you too. Oh, okay. Sorry. Hi.
Anywho.
No, if you all could, James Jacobs said we were talking about divorce.
Oh, okay.
If
we might have to revisit that.
Okay. No problem with that.
Okay. It's a hot topic in the church.
Hot topic in life.
In the building.
All of life, yeah.
And I don't mean just divorce from really marriage, but I'm talking about divorcing yourself from situations, divorcing yourself from problems, divorcing yourself from jobs, divorcing yourself from friendships, divorcing yourself from bad habits. Can I get an amen in the church?
Come on. But like I was saying,
because the Bible says,
my daddy said mushy stuff. Oh, how sweet. Anyway, yeah, if you could just, even if you still follow us on Facebook or Instagram, that's fine if that's your place of comfort. But if you could just like it on YouTube to build that following, we'd appreciate it. That being said, thank you so very, very, very much. I think eventually Chasing More is going to get its own channel. Is that what's...
Yeah, we're going to try to do that and try to, you know, if we get a large enough audience, do something live.
Okay.
You know, some topics that
folks want to talk about. Would you like for us to do a live recording, like with y'all there? Let us know if you would like to do that. That could be fun.
Yeah,
that could be really fun. So yeah, let us know, and if that's something you would like to like for us to do, we'll start putting that together. So let us know if you would like us to do a live recording.
Keep those connections, man.
Rodell said yes. We got one yes.
Like the Bible says, you know.
Tanya said that's good. Those of you who do not follow Main Attraction Decor 3161, Main Attraction Decor 3161, go ahead and follow her on Instagram. Listen, that woman is a decorating machine.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Main Attraction Decor 3161. Follow her on Instagram.
Check out the work, man.
Yeah.
Good work.
You're gonna love her.
Good work.
All right. That's being said,
once you go to our page, you can hit the tab or the link and it'll show you how to book her and all that kind of good stuff. Because you know, everything is open now. We get back to life, man. Let's get these parties and everything jumping and let's get to it. Let's get back to business.
She's a beast.
Yeah, let's get back to business.
She said, "Wow, thanks, sis." No, sis, thank you. Like seriously.
Let's get to it.
And again, that is Main Attraction Decor. All one word, 3161. All right, guys. If you could do us that favor, we'd appreciate it.
Choose your connections wisely.
In the meantime, in between time.
For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. So your connection should not bring burdens to your life. It should bring a direction, should bring purpose. It should be very light to be supportive. And what I mean by that is just because it's your problem doesn't make it my problem.
Oh, wow.
But at the same breath, I can feel your pain.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I can feel your pain. I might not have to go through what you go through, you know, physically or mentally, but because I'm connected to you, I feel what you feel, and my support comes from that. You know what I mean?
Tanya said, "Preach, James."
Look, I'm not taking another text. I'm just saying in connection, sometimes, you know, we try to save people, right? And our connections, we're not built to save people. We're built to support people.
Amen.
That's just the truth. We're just not, you know, we're not built to save people. We're built to support people. We're built to uplift people. Like you think about Moses, right? When he, you know, on the rock, you know, when he went to war, like they supported him by holding his arms out. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing I'm saying. Like, we're not built to take on whatever the problem is, but we are built to support people in their problems. Ain't that right, James?
Oh, he responded like, but and y'all responded at the same time. You said, "Ain't that right, James?" He said, "Get off my street."
Bruh, I'm just saying. He man, look, one day,
we'll have him on one day.
One day, I'm gonna tell you.
We'll have him.
Yeah, one day.
That
one
being
day.
said, in the words of Shaniqua,
my man,
amen and amen again. All right, all right.
I ain't gonna be long. I'm about to close right now. I'm about to close right now.
These eyes about
all right, guys.
Right
until
now.
next week, I got work to do.
Until next week, we'll
love y'all, man. Huh?
Until next week,
we'll
be what?
Chasing more.
Chasing more.
All right. I love you. Appreciate you. All right, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Thank y'all.